Welcome everyone to my channel. Today's pick a card reading is all about really being a master manifester, because we're looking at how to magnify your personal magnetism, and that could be anything from your capacity to draw love, friendship and support and attention to you, through to spiritual manifestation, channeling energies, being able to bring your dreams and hopes into being. And so we're going to look at what are your natural talents in that area, because we all have potential natural talents around magnetism, about being magnetic. And we'll use some oracle cards that have angelic and higher order beings to help give us a sense of the nature of that. And I'm also going to use the Astro-Chakra Synergy System cards, which I introduced in another video that you may or may not have seen. But if not, this is a system that brings together the energies of the chakras with the energies of the planets from astrology. It's a very interesting and deep and revelatory system. I think it's an amazing system done by a woman called Brenda Kelly, and the details for that, as with all the decks that I use, is down in the description box if you're interested in looking into that. But what that will do is it will give us a focus point for how you manifest that energy from a chakra sort of an astrological level. And then we'll use tarot and other oracle cards to see what advice Spirit has to really turbocharge those capacities and abilities, and if there are any challenges either within yourself in terms of confidence or people around you or circumstances, then how to move and leverage past those to get the best outcome for yourself. So that's the structure and the idea of the reading. As always, the important thing is to find the pile, the reading that most draws you, and of course you can go to more than one. As I always say, there could be amalgams of abilities and messages for you across them. To help with that, I'm using the chakra placement stones that again I've used in other readings. And this, I've chosen the particular chakra placement stones because I think they are energies that resonate overall to this reading. So pile 1 has a solar plexus chakra, pile 2 has the heart chakra, and pile 3 has the crown chakra. Now that doesn't mean that this reading is about solar plexus chakra issues, this reading's about heart, and this reading's about crown. I don't know what's underneath these cards. I don't know what's going to come up in the reading until we do it. It's just a way to energetically connect. If one of those draws to you, then it may be your higher self or your guides drawing you towards that reading. It may also be that you're someone who very much resonates to colour, and so this may help you choose. If neither of those things occur, then you may choose your pile from a different way. You may need to pause the video and meditate. You do whatever you need to do to work out what reading or readings you need to go to. And when you have an idea about that, when you know where you want to go in terms of readings, the timing for them will be in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. These cards were under the placement stone that you chose to come to this particular reading, and some of these cards over here, which we'll look at later, were also there. So they were pre-chosen. We'll also be using tarot and some other oracle energy as well as the reading goes through. But this is meant, as I said in the introduction, to give me a sense of 3 key areas that may connect or may be separate, that are about your power of magnetism. And this is really interesting. For the first part of it, you have 3 archangels, and so they are very high order beings, as I said in the introduction. They bring a lot of energy from the divine realms to you. And what's interesting about this is that there are 3 types of energy here, but I think they connect. And then also with the chakra cards, the Astro Chakra cards, there's a connection as well. So in terms of the archangels, the first one is Archangel Chamuel, and that's about unconditional love, self-love, heart healing, and so forth. A very strong heart chakra energy, and it's interesting that it was the heart chakra that came with that for you. So one of your powers of magnetism is the openness of your heart and the fact that you can heal others and you can make other people feel, I think, better about themselves. You may be a natural healer. You may be someone who does that in some form for your vocation or career. Or it may be just that you draw people because of this openness of your heart and the fact that people feel really good in your presence, but they also feel secure because of Saturn here. And I'll get to these cards later, but there is definitely a sense that you draw people to you. And if you are looking for love and one of the things you want to draw people to, you have a natural talent to do that, but it does need to be balanced with some discipline and focus, because it's almost like you draw too many people to you. In terms of love, you may be very, very attractive to people. That may be one of your powers of magnetism. And whether you realize it or not, there may be a lot of people who like you, but they're off to the side and they don't feel like they can say it to you. You may even threaten people potentially on that level. They may feel they're not in your league. That you are very, very attractive to people on a love level. But I think that sometimes that may really manifest itself in being someone who supports people and helps them deal through pain and all of that kind of thing. Because one of the other things that's magnetic about you is that you just seem to know stuff. You just seem to have a sense. The Archangel Raziel connects to mysteries, to secrets, and it connects to knowledge that is ancient. So I think people have a sense that you just know things. You seem, if you were in an academic environment, you would probably do extremely well because you just seem to get to the heart of things and understand the connections of things really easily. And if you're not in an academic environment, you're just someone who just seems to be right. Like people just think, yeah, this person gets it on some level and has some knowledge. So people are drawn to you, not just to heal their heart, but they're also drawn to get an idea about why things happen. These two together really give me a sense of someone who, if you wanted to do it for a career, could be an amazing therapist, amazing psychologist, an amazing psychoanalyst, something like that. Or even someone who works in forensic psychology, understanding what's going on but underneath things. Just that, because there's a high level of intuition that you're bringing to this as well. And that's also picked up here as well. So you have an open heart and you have an open channel to others, probably telepathically, whether you're aware of it or not. And people just think you know stuff and they really want to learn from you on some level. And last but not least, we have the Archangel Zadkiel, and that's about transmutation, about mercy. It talks here about the violet flame. So that is that sense of energy coming from the divine and so forth. So I think those two connect very strongly. I think this is definitely, again, saying another reason that people have a sense of you. The aura that you give off is like a purple aura. It draws people because of this sense of being connected to something above, something beyond, something very knowledgeable and wise in some way. And it's turbocharged in this by the Astro-Chakra cards. And the reason I say that is that you have Saturn and Pluto as the planetary energies here. So Saturn gives structure, it gives discipline. It does suggest something that is developed over time. So if you are quite young, then you're probably getting a sense of some of this. You're probably very precocious around your studies potentially, or you just seem to understand things or get things quicker than others. And you may, as I say, be very charismatic and be drawing people to you. But you'll live and grow more and more into this if you're young. If you're older, if you're more mature, then you'll probably understand what I'm saying here, that this is something that you become more and more aware of in yourself and becomes more and more powerful as you grow. And in some senses, maybe even as you study something, if that's what you want to do, particularly if you want to do something about this vocationally or academically. So Saturn gives a sense of slow growth, but solid, dependable, and it's a very good planet in many ways for manifestation. In astrology, it can block things until they're ready, but when you've got the energies of love and you've got the energies of intuition, you will know, you will connect to others and know when the energy is right to bring something in. So if there is a block to something in your manifestation, then it's because it's not the right time yet, and you intuitively know this. You're getting downloads of information. You're ready to wait till the right time because you want to build something that lasts, like a legacy. There's a very, very strong sense of stability here, and it's partly why, as I say, people think you're wise, because Saturn is also about wisdom. So you are a wise person and you get a lot of download of intuition, but you also come from this heart base. I think in many ways for your magnetism, the really key thing is this card. It is this sense of love and openness that you have, because otherwise Saturn could be a bit severe. But when you've got it with love, it becomes focus. It doesn't, as in this card saying focus, as in that rather than limitation or discipline or so forth. You focus that energy of love, you draw people in, and they really see you as someone wise that they want to come to. And then over here, we have Pluto. Now, Pluto is transformative. And it's interesting that it's connected to the archangel that's about transmutation, and it's also about mercy. So it's good that that's there, and it's good that you have Saturn with love, because that says that anything you do or see in the world, however you manifest this power, because you do have power. This is actually about you are someone with power, the power of knowledge and the power of very strong heart energy. You do it with focus and you do it with mercy, and that allows the transformation to be revelatory rather than something that is just chaotic. So if you think of this card connected particularly with this, and I think again over here, you're looking at someone who, in dealing with the tower energy in the tarot, for instance, would intuitively know and would have the frameworks to deal with that and help others with it. So some of you may help people dealing with major changes in their lives. That's why I keep thinking your knowledge, which is partly well sort of researched and learnt and partly downloaded, is about how to shift energy in your own life to transmute and transform anything that isn't working and bring into focus and definition what you want. So it's very, very powerful energy, this. So that's for you personally, but I think you also would probably do it for other people. So your magnetism, pile one, is that you really do know what you're doing. You really do. And you have a sense of being able to go through change because you can see it as evolution and revelation, not as something to be frightened of. And you're caring enough. You come from a heart-based center so that this energy is not too detached, which you could otherwise be. I think that it's very important that you have that connection there and people feel safe with you because of that. So there's almost a sense here, particularly with the connection to the heart chakra, of in the Kabbalah, like Binah, which is the mother, the divine feminine, and that sort of caring, and then Chokmah with Raziel, with the grey energy. And the thing about Chokmah in the Kabbalah is it's wisdom, but it's wisdom without the empathy and without the mercy and all that sort of thing. But this is saying you have those as well. So it's very well balanced. And that's why it's powerful. So your magnetism is about power. You could be in a position of power if that's something that you want, or you could just take and help other people through that. You'd be an amazing coach, actually, an amazing mentor. So with that, let's use some tarot. Let's ask Spirit and your higher self to give us a little bit more information about how this energy, how this magnetism is working at the moment, and what you could do to enhance it, what opportunities there are, if there are any challenges that you need to be dealing with, all of that sort of thing. Okay, so I think this is picking up how you are using this power, pile one. I think that you are about liberating people. This transformation and this bringing of a new focus and a new sort of sense of what the structures of the world should be, it's connected to the freedom of the Eight of Wands here with the Devil reversed. I think you're the sort of person who uses this heart-based energy and this understanding of the dynamics of whatever world you're in to free people, to bring them to your level. You're not someone who wants to lord it over people. It would be an interesting thing for you, I think, because on one level, I think you would get followers, like literally you would get followers. People see you as being very wise, but you don't actually really want followers. So what you're hoping is to lead by example, to show people how to free themselves, to come out of petty conflicts and issues like that, and to then be able to be happier, because it's like you understand how conflict impacts on the happiness around. We've got the Ten of Cups reversed. So while there is conflict, you understand that there is an entrapment going on. So you want to free people. But I think one of your major challenges will be that while you're trying to do that and you come from that space and you have the wisdom and the power to come from that space to know everybody has to find their own path, you may find that there are people who think, well, following you is what they need to do. So I think that Spirit is saying here to just be aware of the power that you bring to it, and that really emphasizing this freedom and emphasizing giving people the skills to move forward and go through change and structure their lives. I mean, you definitely could be someone who teaches in the space of manifestation as well and bring a great deal of clarity to that. But it's very important, I think, Spirit is saying here, and I think you know this, it's very important that people understand that you're showing them the knowledge, you're showing them the frameworks with Saturn, you're showing them the capacity to deal with change that is necessary to transform and to be liberated, but you're not becoming the new sort of thing. And I think that Spirit is saying here that you could, if you have a group of followers around you, without even being aware of it, end up with conflict in that group for attention. Because this is a highly charismatic, it's charismatic in a knowledge-based level. It's charismatic in the, this is the wise teacher sort of thing. And I want to be noticed by the wise teacher. And I do think, and it's one of the things about this reading in general, I think that when we're talking about charisma as magnetism, charisma has its own challenges because of the way that people can respond to it. But I'm quite confident for you. I think you know. I think that it may well be that you've seen this, whether it's in your family or whether it's in a workplace or at school or at some sort of college or university. You've seen a pattern where people just follow something and get caught in a structure or an approach that is not right for them, and then they get caught, and you've seen how to liberate that. Something in your life has made you liberate yourself, and you want people to do a similar thing, not to become sort of obsessed with you and wanting to just be like you and sort of battling with each other for that. So I think Spirit is saying that's one of the challenges for you. So I want to use another tarot pack just to sort of see the external reaction to you, because I think we've got a little bit of that there, and I think this is giving us a bit of an idea about what you need to be thinking about. But this is going to be specifically external responses to you and your magnetism. Pile 1. Sorry, I just realized that I had a card that was in this deck that was actually not a card. It was sort of a advertising thing for the deck. Hadn't noticed that before. Shuffling again. Right. Okay. So, the people who come to you don't feel free yet. That's why they come. They see you as a way to do that, or they don't feel that they're manifesting what they could do. They think that they have more potential, and I think that you would agree that they have more potential, but they're not free yet because they haven't defined, by the looks of things, pile 1, what it is to be living in the sun with the sun the right way up. They're not defined on that level as to what it means for them, and they are trying to make material choices. It's interesting. I do think quite a few of the people that are around you are on a spiritual path and do have quite a bit of spiritual knowledge or ability themselves. It may be that some of them are competing with each other, as I say, around this, or it may be that they are in conflict with themselves about that ability. One of the things you may be able to do is draw people to you, and because you seem to have the structure and the philosophy and the understanding about why something works, then you are able to help people open up their own magician energy, their own power, and make the material decisions to do that, and to find what their particular sun is, so to speak, because you have the knowledge. They see you as having knowledge. Because it looks to me like with the 10 of Earth, which is the 10 of Pentacles reversed, and it's interesting, we've got 2 10s reversed here, that the people who are drawn to you have not worked out how to do that for themselves. So you are repairing something, and you are repairing something that is very materially based. So as I say, you could be working in manifestation or something like that, teaching people that, or it could be around material outcomes in a business or around, as I say, therapy and so forth. But the people who are drawn to you, and that's why I think we've got this energy connecting to that, they don't feel like their cups are full. They don't feel like they've created their own legacy, and that there is conflict around that. But the ones that are drawn to you intuitively do, in fact, have the potential, and you can see that. So they're looking for you to help them make the choice, and that's the liberation. So as I say, I think that you actually will have a lot of people coming to you that are doing it for a very good reason, and I think you will be incredibly helpful for them, and you're coming from a very open, warm heart, and I think they know that. But I think that Spirit is saying that you will have to balance, and this is why the focus and the discipline, this is why Saturn is there around the transformative time. You will have to make sure that things are on a firm foundation with them, and it doesn't become a different form of entrapment. You don't want to do that to people, but some people might almost ask you to do that to them in a way, if that makes sense. So Spirit is saying your magnetism is there. It's just, it's obvious to people, and you are always going to draw people to you, and you are going to be able to draw your own manifestation and so forth to you because you figured it out, but you figured it out for you. So it's that process and that knowledge that can help others and genuinely help others, but you're going to have to balance that with people wanting to be a follower rather than a companion, if that makes sense. And if you are looking for love, the same sort of energy you may need to be aware that you end up with somebody who is with you in a sense because of that. They want to follow you rather than be with you. So this is not Spirit saying you can't have it. This is Spirit saying bring that sort of wisdom and understanding to your situation there, because people just aren't at your level by and large, and you can help bring them to that level, but they have to do it themselves once you give them the ways to do it. So it's pretty interesting, pile one. So let's have a look at what the oracle cards were for you. Okay, so Spirit's talking about different crystal energy. So I think when this comes up, it's probably suggesting these crystals are good to have around you, or may have energetic properties that are going to help you around what you're dealing with and the change that you're probably going through and that you're helping other people through. So we have citrine, which is goal setting, abundance, positive energy. So yeah, you can do it. You naturally can do it. And that goal setting might be a clue for you, I think, pile one. It may be that that's how you help people make decisions. It's like it's got that coaching, mentoring feeling about it. On some level, if you apply the approach of a coach or mentor to these situations, then you can really help people. Then we have clear quartz, which is about clarity, healing, and endless possibilities. Yeah, your magnetism is that people can see in you on some level energetically or literally, if you're already very established, say in a career or in academia or whatever it might be, they can see in you the possibilities. And if you can keep them focused on their goals, just as you stay focused on yours, then you can help them. Then their attraction to you is helpful rather than just being a follower. So clarity, the clear quartz clarity, allows for the possibilities, and the citrine allows for the structure, the Saturnian discipline to go through the transformation of Pluto. So this has such a strong coaching and mentoring and teaching energy to it. You are a born mentor, coach or teacher in some way, whatever you do with your career, pile one. So what else do we have? Okay, so that's rather lovely. So we have shadow, and that's picking up Pluto. You cannot have Pluto energy, and this is why I think, you've got this sort of very strong third eye and crown chakra sort of energy coming to you and so forth. You cannot have Plutonian change without being prepared to look at the shadow. So, and that's part of where your wisdom has come from. I do think you've been through something, pile one, that has accelerated your development in some way in this life, and it may well have been difficult, and it may well have had shadow around it, and it may well, with some of these energies, particularly the Five of Wands and the Ten of Cups reversed, been in rather conflict-based situations or very hyperbolic emotional situations around you, maybe in families or friendships. So you're very well acquainted with your shadow. The beauty is that you can see how to come out of that and bloom. This has a order order out of chaos type of feeling about it. It has a very alchemical feeling around it. Even these three archangels around felt very alchemical to me when I looked at it. The sense of the phoenix rising from the ashes. And so by being prepared to look at the shadow and understanding it in some sort of a framework, it allows things to bloom. So you certainly could bring in a lot of money, success to yourself through this. You could bloom personally, but I think you will help others. I think that's what you're here to do. So let's have a look at some astrological energy from the cards. Okay, so we've got the 8th house. So that's telling us that this is the depth psychology, the kind of Plutonian energy operating for you. The planet that rules it is Pluto. It very much says that this revelation, that in the core bit of this, the energy around you at the moment is the revelation to others and to yourself about what you have learnt and your wisdom and so forth. The ruling sign is Scorpio, so you may be a Scorpio, you may have Scorpio strongly in your chart. You don't have to. It could be just scorpionic energy, but it is all about transformation. So I think this is telling me also that if we almost see this as a circle of energy that's operating, that you've been through the learning, you've opened your heart, you've been through the learning, and you're at the transformation stage at this point, pile 1. So understanding that Plutonian energy because you have everything in place. And it could be literally for some of you, you're in an organisation or in a circumstance or a community where there is a lot of change going on, and your wisdom and the work that you've done is going to really help with that. Because we've got a sextile there, that suggests it will be a lot easier than you think. And I think it's because you've done the hard work, you've done the Saturnian stuff. So whatever this change is, you will be able to go through it with ease and probably also help others go through it with ease. So what I do when I get an aspect within a chart with these cards, so a sextile, I then also shuffle the cards again, and then I'm going to just deal out until I get to planets or asteroids or major points to see what the sextile is, what that energy is. So the first one I got is the North Node, right out from the gate. And Neptune, oh, that's great. Okay, so this is saying to me, the North Node is your fate. It's where you're heading towards. It's your karmic lessons and your journey, and you know what it is. And you know this. I don't need to tell you by one. This ease is because you are heading in the right direction for you. You may sometimes doubt it with Neptune there. You may sometimes think, well, there's a couple of things I think with this. Firstly, you may sometimes think, is this true? Is this grounded, or am I getting, too into myself or something like that? I don't think that's the case. I think the North Node is very much saying that you are heading in the right direction, but you may sometimes feel that. With Neptune as well, you may also, this energy that I feel, which you maybe get some Neptunian energy directed towards you, which is people who aren't as clear as you. You're very clear because of all that Saturnian energy, but others may not be. The tarot card with it is the Hanged Man. So there is a need for a different perspective. And I think that's also saying that part of what you're here for is to give people that different perspective. But you will need, it's saying it over and over, you will need to deal with Neptunian energy around you. And that will sometimes, I think, be projected at you because of the magnetism you have for people, because of what they see as your wisdom. So it's saying it a number of times, but don't doubt yourself. You've done the work. You've done the work, and remember that you've done the work, so that you're not feeling it's all just sort of channeled and is this real. So the last card that I want to look at for you around your magnetism, pile 1, is from a deck that sort of shows the ultimate manifestation around something. What is, at this point in time, what are you likely to manifest coming off this magnetism that you have, and focusing that magnetism even more and balancing it in this case with how people respond to it. Well, that's nice, prosperity. So yes, I do think whatever this is, whatever you've developed your wisdom in, however you're helping other people, you could actually get quite wealthy with this. You could make quite a bit of money. You could certainly set yourself up. And that's a very Saturnian thing as well too, that sense of a legacy and having the wealth and the capacity to see something, on a long range basis. And any change that's around you at the moment, if there is change, takes you closer and closer to that prosperity. So it's a good thing. So pile 1, I think that you are a master manifester, to be honest. I think, but it's coming from wisdom. And people are drawn to you because of that wisdom, but also because of your caring, because you come from a really good place. And as I say, the only thing you really have to balance is people's responses to you when they're drawn to you. If you can keep focusing them on the processes that you've gone through and the disciplines that you've gone through, then you're unstoppable, really. And quite beyond that, you are going to, I think, be well off in whatever that means to you. You will prosper as a result of this magnetism and this energy. So I hope that resonates for you, and I hope you enjoyed the reading. And if so, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if it does resonate, I'd love to hear about it in the comments if you have time. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. These cards were amongst the ones under the chakra placement stone you chose to come to this reading. There's some other oracle cards over there that we'll get to that was also under the stone. But as I said in the introduction, what I'm doing is I'm using an oracle that is about higher order beings of various sorts to get a sense about what your powers of magnetism are, and then the Astro-Chakra Synergy System cards to look at some of the chakra and planetary energy around that to get a little bit more information about this. And right from the outset, Pile 1, you are a fiery, creative, charismatic person. And if that doesn't relate to you, then maybe you are hiding your energy under a bushel for some reason. But I think for most of you, you'll go, yeah, I know. You draw people to you. You're very attractive. And so if any of you are coming here around love, you're very connected with the Mars and Venus energy here. And we've got Mars twice. And there's just this sort of sense of fiery, passionate energy. But there's also very, very strong creativity around this, probably channeled either telepathically from the collective or from the divine. There's a real sense of creative fire and creative energy around you. You are able to bring things into being by creating them and thinking about them in some way. It's like you're, in terms of manifestation, creating something from that fire and that energy and drive is part of what brings it in. But there is definitely, with the intuition, with the sixth chakra there is a sense that you are drawing from the collective. If you are a creative person, like full stop, with what you do either in your career or as a hobby, then there is something that you draw in from the collective unconscious that is incredibly powerful and very attractive to people, very magnetic. And you draw that energy in. You probably have amazing dreams, actually. I think you're probably someone who dreams incredibly symbolically, sees things in the collective. There's a sort of precognitive feeling about this as well too. But primarily there's just this energy and drive. And you really do, a key part of you is about self-expression and creativity with the Archangel Gabriel here. And the North Star is following, and your intuition, following your dreams and your intuition and your love nature with Venus there. That you're very on point with that. You may draw a lot of people to you that are not the right people for you in love, because you're going to draw a lot of people because you're just passionate and really charismatic. But ultimately, there's something about your creativity and your self-expression and staying true to that will bring the right love to you as well with the Venus energy there. With Archangel Gabriel as well too. Gabriel looks over a number of things, rules the moon, so you're probably very connected to moon energy. That's part, your intuition is probably heightened at various stages of the moon cycle, so pay attention to that. It's also the Archangel of Prophecy. So there is a sense here, even though I think most of what you do is put through a creative energy in some way, or just through your personal presence, I do think that there is some sort of prophetic side to you as well. So you would be the sort of person, if you wrote a book, you may write something and then you find it plays out in your life. I read an interview with a comic, a graphic novel writer who is into magic and into sigil magic in particular, who uses their particular cartoons, their particular graphic novels that they write as sigils to bring things into their world. So you could potentially do that if you wanted to do that, but you might just do it naturally and you're not even aware you're doing it. But people are just really drawn to this energy around you. You are definitely, people could be a bit scared of you sometimes with so much Mars energy. And but having said that, I think that they really do see you It's a little bit wild with Baba Yaga, the wild woman, the wise and wild woman, and a bit witchy maybe as well with that. But so they do think, you're tapped into something more than just the day to day. But with St. Bridget, that passion and that fire is about growth. So I think they see you as a very positive energy. You are probably highly ambitious. If you haven't unlocked that yet, you need to, because you have so much energy. You're a firecracker, really. And your magnetism is based on that. You're almost indefatigable. You'd be someone who could just keep going. You might be one of those people who can get by on 4 hours of sleep a night. I have no idea how people do that, but you could potentially do that with this sort of energy. And that drive in you is part of what draws people to you. It's part of what will manifest what you want. So that's the energy around here. So let's have a talk about that. We've got St. Bridget here around passion, fire and growth as one of your powers of attraction, with creativity coming up, because we've got the second chakra, which is the sacral chakra, which is creative. And for some, this could be picking up creativity of a fertility level. So there could be a sort of sense of the divine feminine and the mother energy here. But because we have Mars with it, I do think that is drawing in a lot of energy to create something that is broader than just that. And I do think it's potentially through a creative force that you find your love as well too. So if you're looking for love, or if you're wanting to connect with the right person, that's the key. The self-expression and creativity helps open up Venus, and the creativity energy brings that in for you. And up here we have Baba Yaga, which, as I say, is that kind of witchy, wild sort of sense, and that's picking up the sixth chakra. So that's the third eye, just as this one is. So this is the telepathy side of things. But with Mars there, it's how you use your intuition and your connection to form your beliefs. So I think, in a way, this is the key to your manifestation, the key to your magnetism that then plays out on this level. So your beliefs, the things that really drive you with Mars and gives you that energy and the intuition and the understanding, that sort of witchy, in a broad sense, understanding of the world, gives you the power towards drawing the creativity and the love to you, and the prophecy potentially to you. So Baba Yaga, I think, is a very important energy around you. It would be worth looking into her if this resonates, because I think you have a natural affinity there. But how it's manifesting is in Venus and Mars coming together. So that is about love, it's about creativity, it's about balance, it's about the divine masculine, feminine, all of those sorts of things. You're probably actually very balanced in that. Some people may, even though I think there's a lot of attractive energy around you, I think that people would also see you as attractive on a number of levels, because it's almost like you've balanced the male and female in you in some way. So yeah, it's all about creativity, it's all about love, it's all about personal presence, and you have bucket loads of it. So let's have a look at what Spirit wants to tell you with some tarot about how it's manifesting at the moment. Because this could be potentials as well as actual things. If you're sort of thinking, I'm not really sure that that's working for me yet, you have all this potential. It's about letting it out. If you are responding to that, then let's see what Spirit is saying about how to best use that to get the best outcome for you, and to keep this balance operating really well. Okay, so I think that Spirit is saying that quite a few have come to this reading, may, even hearing what I've just said, think, I haven't really got that yet, or if it's happening, I'm not sure, like you may, in fact, or you may understand some of your power and your attractiveness, and it frightens you a bit with the Seven of Wands there. It's reversed. So there's a sense of, can I really go out with what I've done? And with the Queen of Cups reversed, my emotional connection, my emotional energy that I'm getting there with the Archangel Gabriel, with that intuition, can I really take this out into the world? And you're stalling a decision about this. But Spirit is saying you can take it out. It's your destiny to take it out. So in whatever form this is, whether it is, and I do think for many of you it will be creative. There may be a creative thing that you're doing that at the moment you're not really understanding how powerful it is and how much of a power of magnetism it has because of the power of magnetism that you have. So you're kind of not taking that out yet. And it's also possible, we'll see, I'm going to use another pack around external factors and external people around this, but it's possible even that there's somebody in your ear, a Queen of Cups reversed, trying to they would think bring you down to earth or put you in your place or something. There's an energy around that, trying to stall what you're doing. So there's a competitive energy potentially around you as well. So that's because you just kind of blaze. Your energy just blazes. And it doesn't matter what they do, they can't stop that. And I think that's what Spirit is saying. You are moving towards your destiny with the Chariot and your capacity to balance. See, Chariot is all about balance, and your capacity to balance that energy of Mars and Venus with love. That's what's creating you. That's what's creating that fiery, dramatic. If you are a performer of some level, you're incredibly charismatic, but you could be having people around you that are making you doubt that, or you might be wondering, can I get to the next level? And Spirit is saying, yeah, you're meant to be doing that now. It's good you come to this reading because you're meant to really own that power that you have. But there's something in here where either you yourself are doubting yourself, or maybe somebody is trying to get you to doubt yourself in some way and not make the changes that you need to make and make the decisions that you need to make to move forward. So let's use another pack and see what energy we get literally around external people, to see particularly whether this is coming up again, or whether it's more likely to be you not backing yourself rather than other people trying to manipulate you. So let's see what energy Spirit wants to give around that. Okay, so I think, pile 2, that if this hasn't already happened, it's coming soon. I think that if you have doubted yourself, and I suspect this is more likely to be you doubting yourself than someone trying to keep you down, but if you relate to that, then just don't listen to them, basically. I think someone is coming, if they haven't already, who recognizes what you have and wants to support you. The Six of Earth is like the Six of Pentacles, and that is an energy of reciprocity, and it's often the energy of a benefactor. And I think it's quite interesting that we have then the Ruler of Fire, which is like the King of Wands. So there is that sense around this of somebody who is also creative and who is almost like your other part, and this isn't about gender, you don't have to be the queen and that person's the king. It's just there is someone who I think will see you, will recognize you, and will be a benefactor or help you in some way and help you make the decision. So you're not feeling like you want to take what you've done out into the world, but this person is going to help you put it into a structure in the mind, to understand it in the mind, because you're very fire and water, I think. You're very creative, you're very intuitive, you're very psychic, you're all those sorts of things. But making a decision is a little bit harder for you because you live so much in your heart and so much in that fiery energy, and knowing where to put that energy. I think that someone is coming to help you with that, who will see what you are doing and who will encourage you. So it could be an agent, it could be somebody in your workplace, if this is playing out in your workplace. It could be a friend, it could be a lover. Certainly with the Venus and Mars there, it could be your soul twin, your connection, the right person for you who can meet you level for level, energy for energy. But what they're really here to do is help you make the decision to release the potential that you're actually keeping so close to yourself, so they can see who you are, probably more than you can see who you are. So, okay, let's have a look and see what oracle cards were also with this reading. Okay, so firstly we've got black tourmaline. So this could be Spirit saying that if you were into crystal energy, that could be a good crystal to have around you. It's about protection, recharging and grounding. And it's interesting when we've got the Ace of Earth reversed there and the Queen of Cups reversed. You maybe do need to ground your energy a bit more to bring in your manifestation and to really trigger this magnetism that you have, pile 2. So that could be a very good crystal to help you with that and to protect you from your own doubts, because I think that's where you need protection. It's a strange energy in a way, pile 2, because I do think you're very ambitious, but I think it's almost that's what kind of makes you pause at the last moment, because you have big ambitions and you're wondering if you can meet them. And I believe Spirit is saying yes, you can, and you will find, as I say, somebody who helps you believe in that. But you probably need to ground this energy a bit so that you don't feel you're getting ahead of your skis. Then we have the waning gibbous moon. Now, remember I said I think that you're connected to the moon cycle, so pay attention to that. I think that saying around the waning gibbous side to turn inwards, so I think it's Spirit literally saying when you get to that part of a moon cycle, meditate, go within and allow yourself to see yourself. Because I feel like there's this amazing fiery energy around you, and if you see that, you'll start to believe it a bit more and probably help draw in this energy around you that you need to move forward. What else do we have? Okay, so we've got conception. So I said at the beginning, maybe some of you, this is literally something creative. So if anybody has come to this and it's because they want to draw in a new life, they want to draw in conception either for themselves or for their partner, then this definitely is a sign that that could happen. And I think then we've got the sense of the fiery energies coming together to bring that into being. So that's absolutely literally on the cards if that's something that you want to do. This is saying be receptive. So I think that's be receptive in that case to the concept that this could occur. So if anybody who has come here is wanting to draw that in and maybe has struggled with it for some reason, the energy is coming through, the right time is coming through around that, which is good. For anybody where it isn't about that, it's the conception of something creative, I think, and the receptivity is allowing. I think you may be the sort of person who, if somebody came and said, you're wonderful, I love this work that you're doing, I really want to take it into the world, you might sort of almost shrink away from it, even though that's really what your ambition is, because you care so much about it. Like the feeling that I have around this, and I've come across this with creative people sometimes, when they are really passionate about something, it's a lot harder for them to then put it out into the world than if they're kind of, oh, well, this is okay, I'll see what happens. You're a very passionate person, so you need to be receptive to people who are talking about how to take what you have out into the world. And if this is about personal magnetism, fire and passion, then possibly with the Queen of Cups reversed there, you've been hurt in the past in a significant way and you're not sure you want to open your heart again, but you are a passionate person. If you're receptive, then you can conceive a better outcome. So that's good. Let's have a look at what was under the crystal, which is around astrological energy around you. Oh, wow. You've got Uranus and Pluto. If you are not yet comfortable and confident enough to come out into the world, you are going to be pile 2. There is major change coming for you, major inspiration with Uranus, and Pluto, major transformation. You are going to shed a lot of the doubts that you have. You're going to release that Mars energy, connect it with Venus, with the love energy, connect it with your fire and your creativity. And there is a major change coming for you with those two planets. And I feel like it's a very, very positive one. I feel like you've dimmed your light and you can actually now start to have it blazing out there, which is what I keep getting, this sort of sense of a blazing creative fire around you. And it will transform your life utterly, but I think in a very good way. Once you own who you are, the sky's the limit, quite frankly. But you do need to step out, be receptive. The Fool is a card with Uranus, so you need to be receptive to something new and to come out into the world. And Pluto has judgment, so you need to use discernment once you're out there about where you put the energy and who you connect with, because there are good connections coming to you if they haven't already. And if there's someone around you who sort of fits that sort of energy, they're only going to become an even better influence on your life or connection in your life. And if this is, and I'm getting this that it could be for some, around a great love, around wanting to draw that in, then a big one is coming. A tower type big one is coming. But I feel that you have enough power within you, enough energy within you once you believe that you can actually withstand that and deal with that and take the destiny of the Chariot. I feel like you can do that. I think many people, when they come across what I call a tower relationship, it's just too much and they move away from it. But I think once you own your own fire, you can go into it and it will be absolutely, its best possible outcome. So I think there's a lot coming for you, but that's because you are a very, very high energy person. And if you don't realize that about yourself, you need to start to realize that about yourself, pile too. So I hope that resonates for you, and I hope it's helpful. And I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please like the video and subscribe. And if it does resonate and you know what this is, love to hear about it in the comments below. Other than that, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. These cards, as well as these oracle cards that we'll get to later, were under the chakra placement stone you chose to come to this reading. And as I said in the introduction, this is to give me a sense through using an oracle that's about sort of elevated beings, and then also the Astro-Chakra Synergy cards, a sense of where your magnetism power is and how it is either maybe separate or how it might interrelate, so that we can see how Spirit's advice to really magnify your magnetism is going to work. Now, what I would say looking at this first is, I think most of the people that have come to this have been through a lot. You've either been through a lot of major issues and challenges in life, and or you've been through a lot of learning on a spiritual path of one or more types. And you've gone through it. You've gone through what in alchemy we would talk about as a nigredo, the sort of breaking down of the constituent parts, the sort of dissolution of everything, almost the end of a tower card energy from the tarot. And you've come out of it with a sense of liberation and joy. So, and why I say that is, and with humility, but with wisdom, and people are really drawn to that. You have been able to weather a storm, or you understand intuitively that the key to spiritual development and to manifestation is in embracing joy, embracing radiance and inspiration and so forth with Archangel Jophiel. So I feel like you have achieved Archangel Jophiel. That's what it feels like to you. You have achieved that sense of joy, even in the midst of potential pain or challenge. You have a sense of loving life, even if it's been difficult. There is a sense that there is something more. There's been an enlightenment of some sort. And that has created in you an interesting sort of way that you draw people, and I think it's two different ways. On one level, you draw people because with that there is a humility, there is a sense of gratitude and all of those sort of energies, an elevation that has come from a spiritual practice, and you literally could be someone who taught people in a spiritual way, that led people in a spiritual way, but it's from the humility of understanding what we all go through and what the world is going through. You're so connected. I feel like you're connected to the earth so strongly, and to the environment and to all of those sort of things. There's a very strong feeling here of loving people and loving life and loving the spiritual experience, but not in a naive way, not in a sort of princessy type of way, in a way of having gone through something or really, really done the work. And the other side of it is this alchemical thing with Merlin. You have a true understanding as well. So if people were to follow you, it is partly because they see in you the capacity to manifest, the magical ability, the person who has ascended on some level and can really bring that into being. And it's very much like the magician card in the tarot, so that sense of being able to really manifest and bring things into being. Merlin, of course, is, in terms of mythology, one of the strongest magicians that's ever been. So there's that real sense, but it's been through a lot to get there, and it's coming to a point of humility and wanting to help others. So there's definitely a feeling there. And as I say, so you've reached the joy, and people are drawn to that. They're drawn to that kindness and that intuition and that wisdom. So let's have a talk about the Astro-Chakra cards, because they connect very much with this energy as well too. So here, in terms of potentially being a guru or a teacher of other people, we have the third chakra, which is the chakra, the solar plexus chakra. So it's personal power and presence. So you definitely have presence in the world. And we have Pluto connected to it, so it's transformation, strengthening. Again, this is why I say you have been through something, I believe, and whatever it is, and either it's a very, very disciplined and difficult spiritual practice, or I think for most of you, you've been through something that was maybe potentially devastating or really hard, but you've come through that with this whole new understanding of life and of spirituality and so forth. So that's there, and it's Pluto is transformative, and you can now take, and again, this is very alchemical, you can take the raw stuff of the world and what happens in the world to you or to others and transform it into something that is powerful and joyful. Up here with the Archangel Jophiel, we have the sixth chakra, so that is the third eye, so connecting to the collective and telepathically with wisdom. And you are on a search now. So you've started a journey, Pile 3. You have reached that sense of joy and understanding. It's like finding Shangri-La or something like that. But you know this is the beginning of a journey, of a search. And people are drawn to that sense of expansive, benefic wisdom that Jupiter brings. You're actually very lucky for people, interestingly enough. I'm not sure that you would say when you looked at your life, you've been terribly lucky on a material level, but you may well be now. But you, as I say, I think you've gone through something, but that wisdom is very expansive and it's lucky. So it may in fact be picking up that sense that people say that when you are grateful and you get to that level, you attract luck to you, that kind of law of attraction. That could be very much working for you. And then with Merlin, we have the fourth chakra, which is the heart chakra. It's about love, but we have the sun connected to it, so that's your inner self. So I think you have come to a point of understanding that you are the magician. You are the person who has a spiritual pathway. You are the person who can manifest. And that's part of what your life path is with the sun. That's your inner self. It's who you're developing towards. It's why these things have happened. I remember an interview with someone who had gone through a lot in their lives and now is very well developed around spiritual and magical practice, saying that they really believe that concept that something is not done to you, it's done for you. And so that's the kind of energy here. You've reached that level of wisdom around that, and people can see it. It's the joy, that's your magnetism, the sense of benefic wisdom and an optimism even in the face of difficulty. And then that sort of humility, which underneath everybody can see, is sort of like not blowing your own trumpet about where you've got to. And having that humility is where you have this power and where you have love for others. So you're definitely spiritually developed, whether you realize it. So if you are not into spiritual things and you've just gone through a lot, but you've still been able to maintain that sense of optimism, that on its own would create this sort of dynamic. But I think if that's the case, you're probably underestimating yourself spiritually. So let's have a look at what Spirit wants to say about where you're at the moment with this. And that card obviously these both wanted to come out. So we'll put them out and shuffle a little bit more to see where you are at the moment around this. Okay, so I think this is showing that for some of you, you'll, even hearing this, you'll be going, oh, I don't know, I'm not really into spiritual stuff or whatever, but you're underestimating the alchemist, the magician in you at the moment. And for those who are, you may have reached this point of joy and gratitude and expansion, but you haven't yet fully realized and brought into manifestation what you can do. So it's yet to happen. Having said that, with the King of Coins there, that's the King of Pentacles, you are very much able to manifest in the material world. I do think you've come out of a period of time where you've either felt isolated or you've had a difficulty with funding, but it's in fully understanding what you can do, what you've learned from that. You can bring in wealth, prosperity, that sort of thing. I do think for some of you, with the Alchemist reversed here in the King of Coins, you may be tussling a little bit with whether you can manifest the spiritual learning that you have in a way that is also material. It's like, I feel like some of you might be thinking, is that what I should be doing? Is that what this is about? But I think that Spirit is saying here you are meant to be in a more secure position financially. You went through whatever this was And if it's not financial, it could have been health, it could have been, as I say, feeling isolated, something like that. But you went through whatever this challenge was to bring you to the point to be able to get more security for yourself, and that is fine, that things unravel in the way they should. And that's why you've got to that joy level and you've understood the framework of the universe, I guess, underneath there. But you do need to make the choice, and you do need to let go of what might have been the residual energy of lack in some way. You are not meant to be here, pile 3, to live in lack, but you did go through something difficult, I believe, to teach you, to open your eyes and open your heart and take you through that transformation, to strengthen you, to really refine you in the fire, so to speak, so that you could become more of who you actually are. And that will draw so many people to you, but you need to make the decision to own that thing around yourself and not to feel it just made you a bit odd and you had to be on your own. You're meant to be very, very much substantial in this. You're meant to be very much grounded in this. So let's use another pack to ask Spirit to tell us what the external forces are around this, because this feels very much like internally you really coming to terms with the journey that you've been in and what you've got, and owning that in a real way to open up all that really strong, lovely, it's really lovely magnetic energy actually. Okay, so for a start, on one side we have the High Priestess and on one side we have the Empress. This suggests to me, one, I think it's picking up what you need to own about yourself, but I think that there is a divine counterpart for you. And this is not saying that you're male and or they're female or whatever the mix could be, same sex, whatever it is. This is just saying that for that magician type of energy, there is also a kind of Empress High Priestess. And the interesting thing to me about that is that's also picking up the King of Pentacles energy, because it is saying both the spiritual understanding, capacity and so forth, and the capacity to have abundance. It's saying again, and I do think that there's someone going to come into your life or is in your life now that will help you really start to own who you are, because you are potentially not yet fully bringing that into the world. With the Creative Order, that's like the Page of Cups reversed. You feel like, and it may be, I'm getting for some of my pile 3, that part of what you struggled through before might have been you originally found someone who was not what they appeared to be. And so you've come through that, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in a spiritual practice, whatever it is, you've been disappointed before, but there is definitely a better connection coming, and they give you a different perspective on what you do. So I think they are drawn to this radiating joy, this radiating peace that is within you, and the underlying power, but it feels like underlying power that you need to bring up. And I think that they help you do that. They give you a different perspective. And I think they also give you a perspective on what you went through, almost as though it was like a sacrifice that you did to get to this level. Because sometimes the Hanged Man or Suspended Woman, as it is in this pack, is about a sacrifice that brings about the abundance. But I feel like this is an energy of another person who helps you get past whatever this issue was in the material world, and to feel more comfortable with having the joy and having a material outcome. Like they help you get past maybe a block that you have about whether that somehow is less spiritual or less grateful or wanting more. They will help you see that part of the mystery for you with the High Priestess is to bring in that abundance. So let's have a look at what oracle cards were with the Shaft Replacement Stone. Wow, okay. So firstly, Moonstone, that connects to the concept of the Archangel Gabriel, the moon and all of that sort of thing as well, but it's about intuition, the divine feminine, because there's something about this, and moon magic. You'd be very connected to the moon. Watch the cycles of the moon. You know, see how that impacts on you, see how that impacts on that sense of expansion and joy for you. But this is also saying you are, embrace the magic of your being. So I'm getting more and more and more here that that there is a side of you that doesn't fully want to own what you have. You feel as though you're somehow selling it out or something, or you haven't really seen the magic of what you do because it's been a much more material thing for you, and that you don't see yourself as spiritual. You don't understand how this is actually manifesting for you. So Spirit wants you to know that you are, that who you are is important, and people are drawn to you, and your magnetism is such because of that, because of that you are the phoenix that rose from the ashes, so to speak. Okay, so this says there is some confusion around you. So again, it's picking up, I think, this sense that there is so much power and so much development in you, but I really do think that you're underestimating yourself, and that causes you confusion. You really don't. And I do think there maybe was literally, for some of what you went through, people lying to you or whatever, so you're not really sure about who to trust and so forth. But this is saying there will be the right people for you, and trust your instincts, because your instincts are very strong. You are the magician. Trust your instincts, and then come together with the right people. Don't just sit in the confusion of feeling you have to be on your own. That was a period of time that was to strengthen you so that you could draw the right people to you. So let's have a look at what astrological energy is around you. Okay, so firstly, we've got one of the moon phases, so that connects to the moonstone. Again, I'm saying to you, pay attention to the moon phases. I think you're very aligned to those. The waxing gibbous moon is about adjustments, clarifying your directions and intentions. So this is the confusion. Really pay attention to your emotions around the phases of the moon. The High Priestess is very much connected to the moon. Pay attention to your intuition, because it is very strong. You are wise with that energy. Don't doubt that. And then with all of that, you can start to work out how to bring the right people into your life and to manifest and draw people to you that are the right people. The tarot card is the sun that goes with the sun. So the sun in astrology is your life path. It's what you're developing towards. So one of the things I think about that is that people do often sort of think the sun sign is what you're born with, and you're just like that from birth. But in many cases, it's what you develop into. It's part of your life path. It's a bit in that way like the North Node. So I think this is saying that what you've gone through is part of a development path for you to bring you into who you truly were. Picking up this card here, which again was the sun, remember, the inner self, the essence. So what you've been through has been to bring that essence out and to take you towards that life path for you, and the transformation that was with the Plutonian energy here. So you just need to understand that you have gone through this for a reason, because you were strong enough, and that is about learning who you are, being who you are. And this, the phrase that goes with the tarot card of the sun as well, is I am. And remember, we had that you are, I am. So this is about the only thing blocking your magnetism, pile 3, is a kind of a hesitancy that you have to fully realize just what you've achieved and what you've done and what you've started to understand and what you've unlocked in yourself. But I do think the right people are coming into your life to help with that. And I do think that once you start to own that and own who you are, then you will draw people to you who you are going to benefit incredibly. They are going to be able to learn from your example, because you really have gone through the fire. You really have gone through the alchemical process in whatever form it is. And from here on in, you are meant to be the King of Pentacles. You are meant to be able to manifest. You're meant to be the magician. You're meant to be the Empress. Remember that. I am, you are. That's the key message here that Spirit wants to get to you. So I hope that resonates for you, because I really do want to think that the people of Pile 3 don't underestimate themselves, and that really own who they are. This is, I think, a very important message, because I think that you could help a lot of people once you really understand what you went through and how you learnt and became wise from it and how you transformed. So I do hope it resonates for you. I do hope that you enjoyed the reading, and if so, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if this does resonate, I'd be really fascinated to hear about it in the comments below. Beyond that, I hope to see you in future readings.